Hello lovely people, welcome to May, yay! It's not like the May of past years, let's just say that. I've never known a spring like this. It's just been so topsy-turvy with the weather. All that snow and frost through March, and then 2 weeks ago that mental heat wave where we had 29 degrees centigrade in the middle of April, which is unheard of for us. And then literally 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, the last day of April, we were back to 5 degrees. Brrr, and it's been raining. So, although it's May, everything still feels really quite far behind, both in the garden in terms of what's in and what's going, and with all the little seedlings at home. So hopefully now we're getting a bit warmer, and hopefully this weather will settle down and stay with us for a bit, because I think what everything needs is light and warmth, and what we've been getting is grey and cold. So unlike previous years, the cold frame's pretty much empty. We'll go in the garden in a second. And it's going to stay empty for a while, because although our daytime temperatures are getting up into the mid, sometimes the high teens again, yay! At night time we're still getting pretty chilly. So everything's still a little bit on hold, but I'm really excited because it does feel like the garden is finally coming back to life, yay! And it feels like we're right on the cusp now. I'm so excited. This is the month for all the direct sowings. Yay! So, without further ado, shall we go and have a perumble in the garden? Come on. Just before I take you down the garden path, you may not have seen the video I did the other day, but I finally have, where is it? I finally have my guttering and my water butt installed. I need to find somewhere else for my basket of poles to go. And there's my little tap, and it's working an absolute treat. So because we've had so much rain, obviously the garden itself doesn't need watering, but the wee little few teeny tiny seedlings that I have in the cold frame do need watering. So it's been great to arrive in the garden. Oh, this brightness is gorgeous. Yeah, arrive in the garden, pour a can of water from my water butt, pop it in the cold frame to warm up a bit, and there we go, harvesting rainwater. I know a couple of you have said, oh great, that's less lugging. It's actually further to my water butt than it is from the mains water tanks we have on site. Never mind. And something else a few of you mentioned was about an overflow system. So what I'm going to try to do, either through Free Cycle or... Now, Richard and Paul mentioned a site the other day, I think it was called Trash Nothing, which is another sort of free cycling, get your bits for nothing site, so I'll have a look on there as well. Because the idea is, eventually, I don't know why I stopped then, I would like to have a whole series of butts all the way down both sides of the shed, so that will be collection, overflow, what have you, because I'm sure at the height of summer I could easily empty one of those slimline butts in one single watering session. So yes, that's something I need to keep a lookout for. Anyway, here we are, coming to the top of the garden at the beginning of May. Let's have a squiz. Well, the flowers are starting to burst out again. So it's about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I love the light at this time of day. Isn't it pretty? I'm so happy to see all of this up coming back, yay! And what I'm really delighted with, look at the size of this now, my tree lily. It's 2 foot tall, and look at the thickness of that trunk, stem, what do you call it? So if you remember, I was a bit concerned because it was a no-show, and then literally a couple of weeks ago it started poking through, and now, like I say, it's a good 2 feet. One of my neighbours was mentioning that actually the tree the lily beetles are already making an appearance. So if you're growing lilies, keep a lookout for your lily beetles. You can't miss them, they're bright red. Have them off your lilies. So here's the white onions. Actually, let me come the other way because they're like so bright at the moment. No complaints, it's gorgeous. There comes my shadow, ignore it. Yeah, so these went in about a month ago. Doing really well. Haven't needed to do much weeding yet, and I think that's, I mean, we have been getting the rain and a bit of sunshine, but give it a couple more weeks with sunshine and I'll need to start weeding again. Yay, the joys. In here I've got my, oh, my shadow's going to annoy me. I've got my 3 rows of carrots I've just sown. I've got 2 rows of the Autumn King and a row of Rotilde, which is the new one to me, which I'll have out first. No sign of those yet. When did I sow them? I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering about watering today. We have had loads of rain, so what I'll do is I'll just give my finger a bit of a poke in the soil and see how far down I have to go for some moisture. Red onions also looking absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't everything look better with a bit of sunshine? Oh, I do like a nice neat row of onions. These are, of course, my, where's my label? There we go. Red Baron. Yay. Over to where the flint corn will be. Still nothing in there yet. They're getting away really, really well at home. So I've got enough at home to go about 2/3 of the way. So what I think I might do is just lift this little area off in the next couple of days and do some direct sowing. I did do a couple of them direct last year and they worked absolutely fine. So yeah, I'll replicate that this year. Over to the garlic. The garlic are all looking well as well. They're looking a bit chunkier this year than previously. Oh, actually that's my massive ones from France, isn't it? These first 2 rows. I think it is. I'll have to check my notes. But if you remember, I brought back that absolutely humongous, filled the whole of the palm of my hand garlic from France. And I think that's what I did for the first 2 rows, those ones that are looking considerably more chunky. So most folk take theirs out about the end of June. I found over the years that from the end of May just into the beginning of June is the best time for me, because if I leave it any longer than that, the rot appears, which is no fun for anyone. So yeah, that bed's looking like it's supposed to at this time of year. Hooray! Absolutely zero change in this bed at the moment. Oh my goodness, this light's so beautiful, isn't it? What I have done is with this second bed for the tomatoes, that's now been sort of broken down a bit more. It's had chicken poo added, it's had wood ash added, so that's absolutely now ready to go if I get any tomatoes. Actually, on the subject of tomatoes, because I am seriously worried about my lack of seedlings or the seedlings not doing anything, I've put the word out with a few of the women on site, oh, and Gary as well, so that everybody knows that I've got an issue with my tomatoes this year. So hopefully we're going to do some seedling swapping, because most people are going to have some spare toms, which is great. So hopefully my neighbours are all going to come to my rescue, and in exchange I can give them some squash, loofah, a cotcha, anything they fancy. Also, just to say, I did check today, no sign of the volunteers over there under the cloches. The purple sprouting broccoli, which I've had loads of, is now going to flower. I'm leaving this in though, because where the kale was, a couple of beds over, that had gone to flower and the bees were loving it, I did need to take out. However, this bed won't come into action until the end of May because it's for all the squash. So I'm going to leave these flowers for our gorgeous bees. The whole of the rest of this bed, that's where I had the last of my carrots out the other day. Fantastic, gorgeous they were. This is all going to be done over the next few weeks to get it ready for squash. And then in the front will be the cucumber frame and the peppers. this bed hasn't been wood ashed yet, so that's another thing I will get onto in the next couple of weeks, but no hurry. And then over here, oh my goodness, isn't that a sight to please? My broad beans, they're looking gorgeous. I can't wait for the first scoff. Oh, delicious. I love broad beans because of the fact that they are, well, I love them anyway for their taste, but because they're the first scoff, they're great. And then look at the difference. Do you see these little ones I sowed in, I think it was February, January, to plug the holes where the foxes had mashed the netting. Tiny. I'm definitely a fan of autumn sown broad beans. I mean, it makes the biggest difference, doesn't it? Look at them. Gorgeous. They're about 2 foot tall now. All these flowers are going to become pods. Yay! Oh, happy days. Happy, happy days. And then into bed number 4. So, what I should say, sorry, is this bed that you saw me working a week or so ago, just trying to break it down. It was baked to concrete. But with all the rain we've had recently, I am going to be able to break that down a little bit more over the next week, because although the squash won't go in there for probably at least 3 or 4 weeks, in the meantime, hello Rusty, in the meantime I want to start doing the underplantings with the salads and the chard and beetroot and lentils, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, that will be a job for this week, as will the end of this bed where the kale was. So now this is going to be my parsnip bed. So although I've kind of got it dug down a little bit, I do want to give this a bit of a riddle and a sift to just get it a bit finer, get some of the stones out, and just give those parsnips the best possible chance with a sort of to get their roots down without forking and hitting stones and lordy knows what else. The next 2 bits of bed up under the cardboard is going to be for the chickpeas, and again this was another post-rain job I did. I managed to break that down into a much finer tilth. It's not a fine tilth, but it's a better tilth. And then what's under the nets here, just to stop the pesky foxes, because I ran out of cardboard. This is going to be for the rock and cork beans and the calypso beans. Oh, and a bit of fennel, so that's also had another bash down. And with the potatoes, well, I wasn't meaning to earth them up the other day, but because we'd had all that rain, what I was trying to do was, these were my mounds of earth to pull over them. I thought, this is the perfect chance to start breaking these mounds down a bit, because they were like rubble, they were hideous. It's actually fallen into the trenches and earthed them up, but they're still coming. Yay, that's one of my little Anya, one of my salad spuds. Oh, there go my glasses. So all of the spuds were up the other day when I was doing this. Just going to see if I can show you. Here's a couple of my main crops coming up. This is Cara in here. So yeah, even though they've had all that earth chucked on them, they're coming up again. So I reckon probably in about, not far away, maybe another sort of 2 or 3 weeks, I will be earthing again. So, I'm wobbling all over the place. But I was so pleased when that rain came, because honestly this soil is such a pesky little devil to work with when it's been baked by the sun. Anyway, all's well that ends well. Everything's shaping up. Now over here, finally, I was just doing this earlier, getting this bed, I'm starting to get it dug out to make into my herb garden. It's a ways off yet. Actually, I've just plonked my chair there. Let me have a sit and chat and explain about this bed. Now, the thing is, if you're going to do any planting that's sort of permanent planting, whether it's, oh, I don't know, fruit bushes or asparagus, that sort of thing. Any of those things which you're going to plant and then basically not have out each year, you want to do some really good bed preparation. Do it now while it's empty, because the bed won't be empty again. So all I've done today is I've just broken it up a bit because it's quite compact and it's really heavy and wet still. I'm going to be adding loads of organic matter, bashing it down a bit more, having another thorough weed, because I do get a bit of bindweed in here, or at least I did last year. So this is not going to be an overnight story. It's not going to be one of those before and after, oh look, beautiful herb garden. You know, it's not telly, it's real life. And I'm just going to take my time with it and do it thoroughly. Like I said, there's no point in rushing it just to make it beautiful for, I don't know, visits from a friend or judges if you have allotment competitions, that sort of thing, or even to make it pretty for, you know, my YouTube videos or whatever. So like I say, it's not going to happen overnight, so please don't get impatient with me. I would rather do it thoroughly and do it once than do it shoddily just to make it look nice on camera and then spend forever and ever and ever having to continually weed it and manage all the problems I didn't manage at the beginning. Yay! So I mean, it's a beautiful day. You can't sort of help but feel optimistic on such a beautiful day. Everything's ready to go. Really, really ready to go. Like I said, I'm going to just sift this soil a little bit more for the parsnips, but over the coming week to 2 weeks, I'll be direct sowing the parsnips and calendula, chickpeas, rocking core, calypso, some fennel. The beans under the arches will be direct sown. I'll also do a backup sowing in the cold frame. Oh, there's absolutely flap all to show you in the cold frame at the moment. Just those, the brassicas, let me show you actually, it's all a bit rubbish. The brassicas and the flowers that I sowed, oh gosh, 2 weeks ago. My shadow's going to be right in the way. But look, but, you know, I mean, teeny, teeny, tiny. I mean, things are starting to come. To Cosmos, whoop whoop. But I think we've just been having such chilly, dark days. Everything's taking forever. But hopefully things are going to get going now. This has become my dumping ground. It is going to all get sorted. Yeah, so like I say, we're at the stage of, we're ready to go. It's just a case of let's have some more of these warm days. Let's occasionally have some rain. So I was wobbling all over the place then. If we get a bit of sunshine like we're having today, it's beautiful again. If we get some nice rain, overnight rain, get all these seeds in a month's time, the garden's going to start to look like what it's supposed to look like, as in lots of veggies everywhere. Yay, coming up, yay, if the slugs don't have them, or if the foxes don't dig it all out. It's easy, I think, at this time of year, especially on a warm day, to feel like we're really behind with everything because the soil is bare. But you know, we're kind of just beginning, aren't we? If you've got all your prep done, the easy bit's coming now, isn't it? It's just sticking seeds in the soil. So on that note, I'm going to say cheerio to you all. Happy bunging seeds in soil. That's a bit better. See you now. Yeah, happy sticking seeds in soil. Happy watching them come up. Happy sitting back in the sunshine at the end of an afternoon session in your garden and just enjoying all the sounds, the peace, the warmth. It's perfect, isn't it? I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. But in the meantime, take care, everyone.